Howdy, howdy. Alright, looks like we're good to go. How's it going, everybody? Alright, we're working on this comic here, Sandcastles, still. And we'll probably stream it for about an hour. We'll see how these go. Thanks to everybody for all the comments and the feedback on the last couple streams. Appreciate it. Sorry, I'm getting errors all over YouTube. Oh no. What is this? The stream's current bitrate is lower than recommended. Let's see how that does. Alright, no, I don't know where it is. Maybe we'll look into this some other time. Anyway, let's just draw. Okay. Yeah, so wanted to say thanks again to everybody for their comments in the last couple streams. What I'm thinking of doing, or trying anyway, is, I don't know about every night, but maybe every other night or so. We'll do like a stream around this time for like an hour and a half. If we get lucky. Keep me drawn. Since I can't, or since I haven't been doing like those, the old streams of the olden days. Actually, I don't know if she's supposed to be talking here. Let me check. Nope, 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 nope. Just and panel 6. Cool. All right. What panel is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I read that right? 7. Oh, right. I added one. Okay. Cool. So anyway, how you guys been? What are you guys up to? Anybody drawn to in the background? I was thinking too. What I might do is spend a little bit of time. Actually, let me open it here. This is what we were working on the last stream. It's something I'm just sinking a little bit of time into every now and then, right? This is like, an hour here, hour there. This guy, this doodle. I think we'll spend maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes on him just to put some progress there. He's just moving real slow because I'm not putting a whole bunch of time into him. Just like, putting the bare minimum and stuff. But I've been thinking about this more and more. Sort of like, I've said it a whole bunch already, and I'll continue to say it, of the inking stuff, styles or whatever. But the more I look at it, I think this is just, I don't know. Depending on what kind of work we're doing in the future, this might be the way to go. Just sort of changing the rendering style. Like there is no heavy shadows here since I know I'll be going into color. But stuff like, it's like the old way I used to do line weights and stuff, and I think I have a couple videos showing you guys or talking about it before. This kind of thing here, where it's like since his shoulder is overlapping everything, the shadow kind of curves in here. I think I was doing it. Where else was it? I might actually put like a little shadow there that's not there. It's almost like thinking of it in a little different way. Here, see how I don't really know how else to explain it. It's sort of like shapes overlapping other shapes, but like in a, what might be a good way of saying it? It's not a perspective thing. Just forms, I suppose, right? Hey, Sean, how's it going, man? You're also drawing? All right, my man. Uh, Move this over here. But if you guys can kind of see, like here, this bracer is, or bracelet is overlapping the fabric. So it goes a little darker there and here. But I'm not doing it everywhere, and that's something I want to change. Like I did it here. And I forget, I've seen a few people doing it like this, like here and here. It's just little touches of it. But it just gives it a little bit of extra oomph. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Know what I mean? All right. Where do we have lighting? There we go. So, anyway, maybe we'll spend a little bit of time into that. Find it like what I'm working on right here. This is client stuff, so it's super important. It always goes on the high priority, like must get done column. But sometimes, and this isn't anything against client work at all. Because there's a good chunk of client work that I actually enjoy. This project being one of them. Very excited to be working on this. But we got the day job and all that good stuff. So it's almost like a mental refresher, just to go in there and do something that I want to do. like making time, if that makes sense, to do my own thing, even though it's the cost to somebody else, which I don't like doing that. Sometimes you gotta do it. All right. Also, too, like right now, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get it to in the stream here is probably all the drawings of her and like a couple of these characters. These backgrounds are gonna be a little bit more heavy. A lot of detail going on in them. So we'll see. We see. Again, the itch. Talked about the last stream. Like Dungeons and Dragons, solo D&D. Getting the itch to fire a campaign back up, release an adventure. It's been a little while. I had an Iron Sworn one. I've talked to you guys about that. If there is anybody even remotely interested in this, and you guys want me to elaborate a little bit more on these games or whatever, just let me know in the chat or even in like the comment section. I have a suspicion that I most likely won't hear anybody from it, but regardless. So Iron Sworn's one of my like. Ever since I found that, it's been like insane. And I had a long one going on, and I wrapped that up. Oof, maybe a month ago, about a month ago, and I just after that it was like okay, I think it was like 26 sessions long. Each session's usually about half hour to like 2 hours, so it was a couple months. It actually concluded pretty sweet, and I enjoyed it a lot. But after something that long, I was like, okay, I need to take a break. So I went back to the board games and some card games like Marvel Champions and stuff I was talking about. But anyway, I'm getting the itch to fire one back up, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go into what's it called, Iron Sworn again, or if we'll go a little bit more traditional, like actual old school D&D. The thing I like about Iron Sworn, and why I recommend anybody that's into any kind of story stuff, if you want to try something other than video games, or if you like tabletop RPGs and stuff, check out Iron Sworn, or even Dungeon World's another one I'm planning on trying eventually. It taps into that creative aspect of your brain, like it's more narrative, the gameplay. So it's all about storytelling. That's why I recommend like any artist that's into this kind of stuff, at least to check it out, because it's primarily all storytelling prompts that'll make you kind of try to connect dots, and then you'll start telling stories yourself. And it's been very rewarding. The thing is, like with actual D&D, it's a lot more like I don't want to say a video game because it's not true, but I found it to be a little bit more. What's the right word to use here? Crunchy, I think, is what people talk about. Like numbers and all that kind of stuff, which is fine. But like I'm just looking at like HP bars, and there's not the same kind of storytelling going on. Yeah, anyway. Oops, I don't know what the hell happened to her arm there. Let's give her tricep, shoulder, come in here. Little bicep. Bring it in like that. Sean, I'm doing storyboards myself. I'm going off a script. Awesome, man. Much less detailed and well rendered than your. Well, thank you for that. I wish I could get more work and doing more finished work like this. Well, I mean, is that like what you do on the side, or is this like your full time gig? Storyboards. Gross drinking sounds in the mic. That way we're all working in the same space, listening to me drink. But what do you think you're not able to, or why do you think you're not able to get work doing finished stuff? I'm assuming you're talking about like this comic kind of stuff that I'm doing, or are you talking about stuff you're doing? Because I was just talking to my wife literally before streaming, and I was like, after this project's wrapped up, I have one other thing to do for someone, and I might mix it in while doing this, because for me, comics lately, or they have been the last few years, they're just so taxing energy wise and focus and all that. I know it might sound it is counterproductive because you should just work on one thing at a time. But like mentally, I need to like spice it up, or else I'll just be like in my head thinking, drawing just becomes comics, and it just doesn't work for me. So I got to take on other small gigs. Like if somebody wants me to do a pinup, like something like this, I could sink a little bit of time in or whatever, right? Just to kind of change it up. But I was explaining to her too. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing after this. Like I've got nothing lined up. What do I do? What am I? And that got me thinking again of something I know a lot of people talk about. They've asked me, and like I've just been super fortunate that people have reached out in the like right amount of time that like a last project wraps up. So maybe something will pop up, but just trying to think of, okay, well, where can I go to look for that stuff? And then it reminded me of like a lot of the things a lot of people in here ask, And I know I've always said the same thing, like where do you go to get comic work? And I used to go to forums back in the day. There's like Twitter now, but like I don't even know where to look right now. So it'll be interesting. I'll report back to everybody if I find anything where I went. So all my art sisters and brothers, you guys gotta, maybe you guys can get lucky too and find something to work on wherever this goes. She looks a little bit more like a kid here. I don't like that. Maybe it's her nose. Hey man, how's it going, brother? Sean, at some point you'd love to. I'm sorry, what you'd love to what? Oh, do what you're doing full time. So this is like a side gig. I can respect that. I think a lot of artists are that way. Not that they're. I'm not saying that you're saying this, but there's no shame in it. I think a lot of artists. I've suggested people do this too, when you're early in your career. If you're able to just 100% work on art while you're living at home or something like that, God bless, do your thing. But for the rest of us, it's like go get a job, go do something, and do your art on the side. Um, and I don't know. This might sound just maybe a little extreme, but I find when artists have done that, it kind of filters you out. It's like a good filtering system. Like if you have to go work a 9 to 5 and then still come home to do art, uh, it shows you the extreme, of what the craft and what it can be like. It's not always going to be like that for everybody. Um, but, like especially in comics, and more so comics for sure, you're working so many hours a day. Sometimes you get easy ones, like you're just doing a pinup and it's like 4 or 5 hours at most. Awesome. And then you get the next day, it's, oh, okay, I'm drawing New York attacked by, aliens or whatever the dramatic pages. And it's like, okay, well, that's a full day. And it's just keeping your attention that whole time it's tough. So anyway, that's why I was saying it's a good filtering system. Not to filter you out to give other people opportunity, but like to filter yourself out to see if, like, yeah, you work 9 to 5 and you only get an hour every night to draw. Is art something you want to do like professionally? And you might find that it's not, or you might find it is, and you just start getting a little bit more focused on it and whatever. But that's just a recommendation for some people. That doesn't apply to everybody. And I know some people have better situations than other people, right? Like it's just you at home. You don't have anybody to look after, or nobody's counting on you for support or survival. If you're in that shoe, like if you got that shoe on, it's a little bit different. I wish you all the best. You just got dealt a kind of crappy hand. But at the same time, it could still provide you with what's the word I'm looking for? That the Stugats, the balls, the grit to just kind of like dig deep, and find it in yourself to push through and believe in yourself and all that good stuff. Forged in fire, that kind of crap. Sean, I'm sure. Let me move my monitor here so I can read you guys a little bit better. I'm sure it takes a lot of work to get in the industry because it's hard in animation too. Dude, like you're 100% right. Hey, Black Fox, how you doing? Um, yeah, I think every industry is just hard and a lot of work. And I'm a firm believer in this. Like hard work and talent always pays off in some way, but the older I've gotten, and the life experience being what it is, not just for me, but art friends of mine and people I look up to and respect, and just seeing talking to people and just seeing how their art careers are going, or just shooting the shit with others. The amount of luck that's in this game is crazy. Like if you're just good, whatever that means, uh, you'll get attention. Maybe you're really good at posting on social media, and that's how you get known, or who knows. Uh, like where I'm at, I've explained to people before too. It's like I was only there because of somebody I knew. We went to school together. I didn't know him in particular, but we went to the same course in college and stuff. So it's like because I knew somebody, I was able to get a job where I was at. I can't like the amount of jobs art gigs I've gotten because somebody recommended me because I worked on something for somebody else, that kind of thing, right? So the reason I'm sorry. Sorry, guys, a little sick here. The reason I'm saying all that, not that you guys don't know, but it's like don't discount networking and stuff. My wife and I were talking about like, oh, what if our son, when trying to set up a savings account and stuff. So what do we do if he doesn't want to go to school? Like, is college and university worth it? That's a whole. I'm not getting into that discussion, but I don't think it is. But if he doesn't want to, it's like, so what's the value? Especially like if you're doing something with art in school, there's something to be said about like just the networking. I don't know if it's definitely, I don't even know. Maybe it's not worth the cost. I don't know what the value is in the cost, like what the right number is, but that kind of stuff, the networking and all that. Anyway, I don't even know why I'm tangenting into that. Black Box, I'm actually an artist. Oh, welcome in. But I'm starting out. Oh, cool. Congratulations. Hopefully you have a long, enjoyable road ahead of you. I know when I was younger, my attitude with art was way different than it is now. And that probably just comes with, the inherent experience and like actually what I go through or what other people have gone through, and I've seen what they do and followed this, done that, seen people go through this, gone through it myself. It's different. The only advice, and you're not asking for advice. I'm not suggesting that you are, but the main advice I could give is just make sure you're always having fun when you can. Because studying and learning and inevitably getting critiques from people saying you're not good enough or they don't want you, it can be brutal. And the hours you got to put in to just draw to learn and to have fun, they're taxing, man. But you can find some fun while you're doing it, in whatever way that is for you. Do it. Oh, and don't forget why you're doing it. I know I got into a massive funk because I forgot the whole reason why I was even drawing. Like it just wasn't fun for me. And I'm sure a lot of people go through that. People are complicated. All right, get these dreadlocks in here. It's actually going pretty quick. Thank you too, guys. Like for anybody even watching, just like I know I'm literally just rambling, and some people are listening, which is that's what it's gonna be unless I have somebody else on the show. But just opening up comments or just talking in the chat, it helps this drawing stuff go by so much faster. Because I'm like most of you guys, right? Like I'm doing the full time job, and then I'm coming back to do some of this side stuff. So it's like I just want to relax, play a board game, play something. my wrist hurts from drawing. You know, that kind of stuff. So it's nice. It's a nice distraction. It's fun. A little socializing. But I do want to open it up too because I know there's a couple like Sean, and I apologize if you've been here before. Your name doesn't look too familiar. And Black Fox, same with you. Anybody else, right? Like this is open book. So if you guys have any comments or questions, if you need help with anything, by all means, always feel that you can jam it in the chat. If I can't help you, hopefully somebody else can. If you need help at all. Again, I apologize for all the sniffles. Just mush mouth over here. I was actually I got so a buddy of mine at work. He lives and breathes wrestling, so I'm fortunate enough to be able to, I'll say, stay up to date. Not even that, just be a little bit more aware of what's happening in the wrestling world. So I get all these really cool things popping up in my feed. I saw some really wild wrestling stuff today, but art stuff happens too. And good buddy Will Robson popped up, so I had to click on it. It's like one of his old videos of him talking about how to draw comics the Will Robson way. That's good stuff. And it reminded me of our old school ways of drawing that I've talked about. And again, it goes back to this where it's like the line art. So I'm excited to dive a little bit more back into that with our traditional workflows, of the 3-pixel brush. Going in there and doing all that fun stuff. Not that I mind this style at all. This is so loosey-goosey. I love it. But anyway, are there any... Oh yeah, Cintiq is the worst. Is there any like Dungeons and Dragons players or fans in here? I know there's probably not any solo players. I know that's weird. Oh, I gotta share this with you guys. 1 second here. It's a cat that has been on the stream before, not in like a, an interview or like it's him and I talking kind of fashion, but he's been like somebody watching the show. The show. What am I talking about? My stream, my art stuff for a while. Let me pull it up here because I always get his name wrong. I always want to say it's Dado or Dadotronic. Let me go here. Anyway, his this is his YouTube page. Artiorama, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Is this Mexican? Is it maybe somebody else can help me out here? I don't know. Spanish or something. I'm awful with these names, but anyway, skip all this. This guy has just been like, man, I'll pop on here, and he just gets me jazzed to draw. He's been doing like these things where he'll like draw sprites and stuff. Makes me want to try to do it. This is what I love. It's like somebody that's just doing, like art studies. I'll just mute it in case, tightening it up. It's got that video game aesthetic to it. Get some tighter artwork and then just slap some quick color on there. But the reason I wanted to pop it up, that you guys might not like his art style and stuff, which is, fine. I'm not here to convince anybody. But he's got all these little like cool things. I saw this. I've been tempted to pick it up. You guys know I'm a sucker for like process and all that. I didn't even know you could do this in Clip Studio. You guys might already know, but you can like put auto actions over here on the whatever bar this is. I don't even know what bar this is. I don't even think I have it. Maybe I do. Anyway, it's just cool way to click it. But it's like this workflow that, at work, this is the sort of stuff that I would work on. It's like assets and stuff, you might call them, right? But just for like comic books and stuff like that, like you guys, like I've talked about with the coloring that I'm trying to do, is like coloring the lines and stuff more often. But yeah, really cool stuff. And he showed an auto action here that I can show you guys. Here, let me just open up a new one. It might not seem like much, but like it could just be because I'm excited about this stuff. But let's just say we're sketching something. I don't know. We'll just do a guy looking over here, right? And I'm trying to keep it loose because or whatever. All this auto action does, and it's nothing fantastic, we'll say. Whoops. Wait, did I? Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Sorry. I click here. All right, so all it does, and it might just look like it turned the layer red. It did, but it also lowered the opacity and blurred it a little bit. And it was the blur part that I was like, oh, that's interesting, because what it does is it starts to like push the detail away. You know, once it's blurred, once you start putting some sharper artwork over top, it starts to like disappear more and more. You know what I mean? So if I'm just going to do this a little bit here, you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. Go here, maybe we'll give this guy like some sort of robot here. I don't know why we're just doing Transformers sounds there, but what the hell? We'll do it. We'll do it. Give him a big old thick neck, because that's what these guys get, right? You go there, and you just keep building it up. And you see what I'm saying? Like what it does is just keeps adding it, and it's merging it all into one layer, which is cool. Brazilian, thank you, Annoying. I appreciate it. But anyway, I've dug the hell out of this stuff, and then we can go in there and do our where's our line art, right? But because one of the things that I've always done working with like this line art style here too, right? And I've shared it with you guys. It's not like a secret, but it's like more like the Sharpie brush. This is how I build it up because it can be a little bit like that. Lately, I've been going into getting the pencil back, but like a much fatter pencil to start with. It just adds that looseness that I want. But the reason I went away from the pencil when I started using the Sharpie was the pencil. Like I can kind of noodle a bit when I'm using like a big old nasty Sharpie. There's no noodling. It's very limited, and a lot of the detail gets worked out once we start doing this step here. You know, but currently it's just like something I'm interested in trying to get back in. Yeah, what if we do like this gambit thing? I'm actually doing a really bad job here. This is supposed to be tight line art, but I'm doing it all on the layer I shouldn't have. Yeah, you like this gambit thing. You know what I mean? And then from here, you can just lower the opacity or whatever. Yeah, we could start. We could even do like I don't even know the style, right? Like I was always talking about this being that what's it called? Ryan Otley style, which is just being ignorant. It's how I watched his videos, and I was like, oh, that's how he's doing some of this stuff. And again, the reason I'm saying it's ignorant is because it's like, okay, I'm assuming that's what he's doing with this stuff. Anyway, so you go there, and then we'll make another layer. Whoops, 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 whoops. Make another layer. We get our little juicy micron. We know that's all going to be black. Zoom out. I actually like working this way too. It's quicker. And it looks good when you color it. There's a lot of these lines, like I said, I've been coloring the lines, and it really fades it back. I don't know what this looks like with all that turned off. Yeah, it almost looks like less impressive. Actually, I kind of like this center line coming down here. Sorry, you don't play Dungeons and Dragons, but I think it's your condo. It's all good, thanks. I often wonder like if more and more people would be into D&D if they knew they could play it solo. Like you don't need anybody else, and you're not really missing out on anything. I don't know. There. Anyway, that was a really like long way of showing what somebody else was trying to show. It's pretty awful. Okay. Comics. Where am I at? Kirby. I think what I'll do is I'll finish this chick up here, and then we'll move over to the coloring on that previous one. Yeah, with D&D too. I going off what I was just sort of rambling about there. I wonder why a lot of people don't try it. Maybe like I often wonder if it has something to do with where people assume that it's like a multiplayer game, and they've never tried it because of that. You know, they kind of like vicariously check it out. Or like, oh, this, it looks sick. And I don't understand why I haven't played it. I don't know. Well, I've been digging it mostly because all day long, man. Like I'm on a screen, like most of you. It's like just being able to get away from that, like without playing a video game or anything like that. Paper, rolling dice, all that good stuff. I just realized, so she's gonna be walking around with a spear. Where does she put the spear when she is talking to this dude? I think what we'll do is just put it over here. So I'm gonna put a little bit of it on screen or on panel, so that the blade doesn't go off. Like that. I know some of this is gonna get blocked off, but anyway, I just want to have the blade here too, the spearhead, so that people know exactly what this is. Yeah, there we go. Cool. All right. That's it for today. Or not today. That's the other thing I forgot was her tattoo here. Let me get this in here. There you go. Okay, I'll save that up, and then we'll do some coloring. Okay, where did we end off? It's been a little while. Okay, so we've got our main color, our shadow, and we got our first layer cell shading, and then we're just doing the second layer now. Yeah. Okay. Let's maximize this here so I can get the right shade of gray. Go here, click that, reduce it back. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So if I feel like in here is where we were last here. So get that. And I'm trying not to go too nuts with this shading. Right, because it is cell shading I'm trying to do. So it's still gotta, I'm trying to keep that integrity with it. It's very easy to just all of a sudden start like going hyper realistic once you start getting in with airbrushing and all that. And this layer 2, it's supposed to be just like a light shadow, if that makes sense. Is wherever the darkest stuff is. So like up here like that. I got those sniffles, dude, like every time it's like nighttime. Rip. If you're sick at all, nighttime's gonna get you. It's gonna get you. I haven't even picked the color flats for this dude yet. Maybe we'll do that in a second. I still have to do like a lighting pass, like a highlight. We haven't done that. I think that's where we left it. Like I know over here you can kind of see we got a little bit of an airbrush going on there. I think I'm gonna also put that in here just to set this leg a little bit further back. And this is the kind of stuff I was talking about, where uh, personally anyway, I'm trying to be a little bit careful because it's very easy to just start airbrushing everything. We don't want to do that. Okay, so turn all these off. Grab this, and we can bring it up a little bit. Okay. So go above this layer. All right. This is a part here that I'm trying to get better with. So normally when I've colored before, it's like just cell shading, and sometimes I'll smooth out the lines, but it's like it's usually just cell shading with shadow. So now I've been mixing in cell shading with light, and it's like blowing my mind. It's hard. It's very hard. I thought it would be a little bit easier. Maybe it is, and I'm not aware of it. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit better with like kind of getting a little loose, like you're seeing here, where I'm just like throwing in chunks of shape for like lighting. Because I'm going to like reduce it and pull it back a bit, but it's I don't know. It's been a challenge. All right, so usually I've been erasing this stuff or using the soft watercolor brush that I normally use. We'll try it with this. Kind of. I want to make sure that I'm still getting the what's it called, the cell shaded look. It's so hard, man. A little texture on there, I think. Here we go. And I have this big piece kind of coming over here. Harnett, what's that? Have you tried playing around with Chamba's workflow? Only when I was taking notes during one of his streams of his layer settings. One of the cool things I did like about his workflow is I've seen other people too. Like I think the first place I saw it was Sketchcraft, where he was making layers that already had effects on them, and then you're sort of like just painting them in. Like, and I just want people to understand too, and maybe some people get a kick out of this, or they're coming at it from the same angle as I am. I'm coming from like a generally penciler inker mindset first, uh, and that could just be, me talking out of my ass, but like, and I've tried to explain this during the last stream too, where it's so at least when I'm penciling or inking, I start with the scribble first, right? Then we build it up. Eventually, you get to what's it called? Shading and rendering, and that's just heavy blacks. Highlights, it's almost, I think of it differently, where you're working from light and then you add shadow. Where when it comes to painting or just coloring in general, and I've seen a lot of people get success out of this, where it's like they just work with the opposite. You start in shadow and then you add light. That's something I would like to eventually try as well, where it's different than this one. And the reason I say that is Chamba and Sketchcraft, those two cats, when I've seen their stuff, it seems, and I don't want to just broadly, maybe they work a little different now, but the way I was interpreting it was like you would do something. Let me just do this as an example here. All right. Well, let's. I guess we're gonna need a something first. So do face here. Make it a cyclops. Cool. And he's got some facial hair. Why not? And we'll give him some hair because we're going to need a second color. Okay. So if I was to just make a cyclops, maybe we'll make him like a bluish something. I don't know. Like that. Okay. And then we'll just do complementary color here. I'll do a nice saturated red. Guess it looks orange. Okay. And then we'll go over here. I was filling his eye. Awesome. Okay. And maybe we'll go down here. We'll make this eye red. Right? So you'd have this, and then what I've seen those gentlemen do is, so like let's say you go like here, you go like a new, is it here? No, new layer, fill. And let's say we start with our shadow color. You can always change this. Let's say it was. Actually, Photoshop works a lot better than this in this regard. I'm not going to do it this way. I'll make a new layer because I can quickly adjust it from here. So like let's say our traditional color here was like this purple, and you set it to multiply, right? And if I clip it down, that's my shadow color. Okay, cool. And then I guess my highlight color, let's just do the traditional like cream color. And I'll merge that down. And maybe I'll set that to screen or overlay. I don't know. Sure, that might work. Right? And then what you do is let's just add a clipping mask to each. And then you just paint it in. And now that I've done that, it doesn't matter which color I use here, because I can just erase it out and it'll work. So if we start with our shadow, right? And if I go here, painting in light to me is so weird. But like, okay, so if we say like the light is hitting up here, and then his eye is here, maybe a little bit of light's hitting down here, top lip, bottom lip. Try to get the planes in here, and I think the weird part for me is because it's literally that. It's, at least when it comes to how I've been doing it, it's probably just been just bad behavior. But it's like I don't always have to draw in planes all the time. If that makes sense. Maybe I'll just soften this up a little bit. And I know this doesn't look great. Right? So it's like it's just a different workflow. Like I feel like my shapes are a lot different. So the way Chamba would do it, I mean, they both kind of do this too. I'm not saying one's doing a little bit different than the other. Is you just start using the lasso fill, right? And you just start erasing things this way. So let's say, and I actually like this a little bit more. This is what I enjoyed when I was doing this, guys. Again, what I assumed it was like from what I was watching is these feel like they're a lot more sharper shapes, kind of like how I would draw. And the thing is, you can always go, is it C that I have it? Yeah, C. Oops. Awful. I didn't have my clipping mask. There we go. Let's just quickly do it again. Bang. You can always just drop back in, right? It's interesting. I think he also sometimes, and I'll do it with the highlight Chamba on this one. He'll also do like this cool thing where it's like this soft. I think he'll actually have another blend mode with that, where he'll just sort of like hit it, and you get like this really cool glow. It's not doing it there, but so if we put this on here, and we go like that, and I'll grab this. The cool thing in Clip Studio here is was it Add Glow? Yeah, we'll do that. Is this lasso fill tool? You can actually bring the opacity down. So if like let's say we bring it to 39, you can you can actually like build up highlights, which is actually really slick. So if I can do it right here. I'm just trying to be broad with it here, right? So you can go like that, and then build it up. You see what's happening? It's just very cool. I like it a lot. It's just got like this. I don't know how to word it. Maybe bring some over in the shadow here. Like a little bounce light. You see what's happening? Where it's like, it kind of reminds me of like old video game kind of stuff, and at the same time, it kind of reminds me of anybody that remembers Battle Chasers back in the day of Liquid, the way he would color. It's very similar, except they don't fade out and stuff like that. But I dig it. It's got a look to it, and obviously this would be something where you'd really have to spend a lot of time getting in there. But the thing is, that, like all this stuff, it's non-destructive. They call it, right? So like if I go Control U, I can change like the highlight tint as well, and that's one of the things I really enjoy about working like this. Uh, right, maybe we can actually, if we just go to Add Glow, crank it up, is that you're always able to just, you don't always have to color sample a lot. You can always go back and change things too. I'll do one more here before we go back to that coloring there. Was if you go this one here, hue saturation. I saw this from Dado. Is if you darken the lines, it's a little hard to see here. And I'll crank up the saturation, bring it in here. And if you pick like, let's say the main source here, you can actually like just color the lines. Oops, whoops. And again, you can always, this is one of the cool things about digital all the time, right? Is you're always able to fiddle with stuff. So if I wanted to just like a little bit like that, and we'll just punch it up. Tilt, tint the color, all that good stuff. It just, I don't know, it changes your art dramatically. And again, why I'm interested in this stuff is basically the way like my day job, right? Is I have to be able to understand color more and more. The longer I work there, whoops, my colors are all fucked up. Uh, what do I have here? There it is. The longer I work here, and it's not like I'm looking to leave, but the longer I work here, the more and more just different art principles I need to just work on improving, and it's fun. Color's always been something that I'm interested in, and I've got my ways of doing it, but there's always room for improvement. Just general understanding of certain things, right? Your favorite part is adding bounce light to shadows with his process. Yeah, dude, bounce light changes everything. Bounce light makes everything look good. All right, let me turn this light off, just see what it's looking like. funny. And I'm going to be knocking this back to like to around there or something like that. I don't want everything to look super shiny. Another thing too I really like about Chamba's stuff is the dude only does like the flat line art, and then he does flat line art, and then the coloring does all the heavy lifting. Not to say that his line art is shit or anything like that, because it's not. I think he's a great artist. But just seeing like it's inspiring, I guess might be a good lead into thing to say after that. Just because like I do a lot of that line art stuff with this, right? And just seeing how far you're able to push stuff. And I'm a big fan of like procedure. Like I don't like going into drawings, learning as I go. I like going in there going, okay, like there's room to learn for new techniques and stuff, but like even this style, right? Drawing, doing the thin line art first, then adding a contour line, then doing your heavy line weights after that. It just lets me know what stage of the process I'm at and what mental shift I need to make, if any at all, to continue going in that direction. Does that make sense? So, seeing Chamba and some of these other cats, the way they work like that, it's inspiring. Because it shows me that all I need to do is, like, okay, adopt some of these techniques, and then I know what the end result will be every time, if that makes sense. I know when I start something where it's going to go, and that's great for confidence. Great for like knowing if somebody wants me to do something for them. I know exactly what the work entails. That's one of the critical things. That's actually really important. And I think that's it for the highlights. Like I don't want to go all the way down here. I don't want to hyper polish everything. So we're gonna drop that back down about 50%. Then we're going to do it one more time. And this is just like the very shiny things, you know. And maybe here what I'll do is I'll put like a add glow. Nah, let's just make it go a little brighter. Get the hair. I'll lower the opacity on that. Cool. All right, now we got our lighting done. Actually, let me just select that, turn it all off, make a new folder. This will be called flats. So there's some other bullshit that was highlighted with that. Cool. Whoops. So one of the things at work, anyway, this is like a generic design principle, from my understanding, and I've been trying to apply it. Like I say, a lot of the stuff that I do at work, I'm trying to incorporate into what I'm doing with this stuff because there's just rollover between different crafts, right? Just delete all that crap that was out there. Oops. And it's like this design principle. What is it? 60. I can't even do math now. 60, 30, 10. So if you were to pick three colors, 60% of it is a majority of the color, 30% is like the secondary dominant color, and then 10% of it would be like the detail you want to look at. The complicated part is when I look at something like this, like a character like this, his, how do I say, his, there's a lot of moving pieces in here. So to assume everything is like just one of those three colors doesn't work. However, you can kind of go in tints of that, right? So I found this. I'll show it to you guys too because I think a lot of people get a kick out of it. It's called Color Space, and like I said, this is mostly for work, but I'm going to show two things here that I use to try to get colors a little bit better, outside of just sampling from something that I really like. So if we open up here, so let's say I want this dude to be like, I don't know, for whatever reason, like this bright red. You just copy the hex key, okay? And then we are going to go back to this site. You go here. This is called mycolor.space, by the way. Paste it in. It's red. It'll generate. So what it does, as you can see, it's giving you certain gradient things and certain palettes to work with that'll work with that color. And it's great because, then it's up to me to decide what's the 60, 30, 10 rule that I want to apply to these. But usually when I look at this stuff, like, it's not necessarily this is the color I will use. They can kind of go back and forth. So this is one. Nothing's really jumping out at me right now because I don't really know what that character is. The other one is I have this as my home screen or whatever. My brother actually sent me this. He's primarily in design. It's cool. I don't I don't know what it's actually called. This thing for Chrome palette tab. I think it is palette tab. What it does is it shows you different. Does three things. It shows you different fonts, shows you color palettes, and it shows you. What's the three things? What's the one I'm missing here? Color palettes and fonts. That's it. And you can kind of see down here too. Oh, and it'll give you like hex keys if you mouse over it. So I kind of use these in tandem, like if something's popping out. And I think if you click here, this will take you to the specific site, right? And this is sort of what I'm talking about. The 60, 30, 10. They've kind of done it here. So if you were to look over here, maybe 60% of your design is this light peach, and then 30% is this like very desaturated green, and then the 10% could be either of these two colors, really. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, and what I also do, is sometimes I'll combine these two together. Like, oh, I really like that green. That's what I want this to be. My problem is I don't know what I want this guy to be. He has no color before him. Part of me was thinking of his skin to be red. I don't know why. Just the horns kind of gives like a little devilish vibe to him. But the problem, maybe that's just the accent color is his skin. Because the only other thing are his fists. Let's look for a red. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to do this as well. This is just for me. So we'll say there's 60. 30 and 10. So that's sort of like the scale in which we're working. Okay, so let's go to this other site real quick, and I'm just gonna hit this random button a couple times. Do we get a nice? We get a nice red. Sure. Let's try this color. So we will say this is our detail color. Whoops. Oh, I didn't paste it in here. What? What? What is going on? It's being silly because I'm streaming. CC3747. 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 Alright. Gosh. Sometimes some of these things just work better in Photoshop, huh? Alright, so we'll go over here. Alright, let's punch in what we want. Boom. Generate. See what we got. I can kind of see it bluish as well. Classy palette though, huh? It's got some nice tang to it. Cube palette. Okay, switch palette. I'm sure these all have names that I'm not accustomed to yet. Matching palette. Highlight palette. Dust palette. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to go with this. So, the trick here is to pick two other colors. Like these three look very similar. So I'm inclined to pick this as the primary color. And then it's between these two. We're almost going into like a Christmassy kind of feel. If we go with that, it might be alright. If we go this route. Let's try it. Oops. Keep forgetting to paste it. Why is it? Sorry, guys. BFA 5A4. BFA 5A4. See, that looked more brown to me than... I guess it does kind of look more skin. BFA 5A4. Let's see here. BFA 5... Was it 4A? Okay. And then the green one is E. Yeah, I don't dig that. Let's go with this one. This might feel a little bit better. Okay. Sure, let's give it a shot. And then the next thing I'll do too, and this is just something, I've been doing with this to try to get just a little bit of range with this stuff. So if I click here, I'm going to just shift it down a little bit, bring this over here, just to get like a couple shadow tones for it. Maybe I'll go a little bit more drastic with this one. And then this one, I don't want to go too nuts, so we'll just do like a couple highlights. I'll really bring this one up a little bit. Just so, like I say, if this guy's primarily going to be gray or green, I need a little bit of range. I can't just flood fill. I'm going to flood fill this dude green. You'll see in a second, but like, there's, you need a little bit of flexibility here. So for the darker brown, we'll go there, and then the lighter brown will go up here. Just simple. And then this red, I don't think there's going to be... maybe there'll be some variation here, because he's got horns, right? We can play with that. I'll go up here Cool. So you see, very simple. Just a quick way to get some range. I don't know. All right, let's click this green. Flood fill him green. Doesn't he just pop? Gross. I'm going to get the red because I know the red is at least his flesh. Let's not do that. I don't know what we're doing with the hair yet, so let's just kind of go gross. Oops. What the? Huh? Oh, my bad. Ah, damn it. When we were doing the Chamba stuff there with the opacity on the lasso, that's why it looked like that. God, look how much that pops. Man, color is wild. You guys ever see that stuff? Like people post it on Facebook or like on Twitter or even on Instagram where it's like a cube sitting on like a checkered floor or something. And the cubes are the same color, but they look different because of what's around them. It's the same thing that like I'm constantly finding at all time. It's like I can find something that looks good, and then once you start putting it in practice, it's like, oh my god, no. Try again. Yeah. We're very saturated right now. I'm very tempted to just desaturate quite a bit in a second here. But I'm just trying to work out those primary kind of things here. Alright, so that's that. So 60% or 30% needs to be brown. I think the brown makes a lot of sense to either be the cape or maybe parts. Like like I could see just going like, okay, well this is brown. Or all the metal kind of stuff is green, right? So even going like, okay, so if this was the brown stuff, like the tunic kind of thing. How would this look up here? Or maybe just going the hair instead. Yeah, I think the hair. Once I get this brown in, I'm gonna call it. I can already hear it. I need to hydrate. Maybe go to bed soon. But yeah, just I know we're at the tail end here, and thank you everybody that was popping in and chatting. Appreciate it. I'm going to try my best to do streams like this at the end of my night, multiple times during the week. It just keeps me, working. But it'll probably only be about for like an hour. So maybe we can get back into the swing of things. Getting the streams and stuff going again. That'd be fun. I feel like that should be all brown. And if it hasn't been clear yet, what my intent here is like, so even with this brown or this green, you see how we've got like shades, so it's not just going to be Swamp Thing or what the hell is it called? The Toxic Avenger. You guys remember that guy? That's good shit. Just trying to do like the big bulky stuff. I have no idea what we're gonna do with like this kind of stuff all in here. We'll figure that out eventually. Right now, I'm just worried about the big stuff. Let me just try one other thing with this green stuff. I just want to see how it looks with like make sure I'm on the right track. And like one of the other neat things is like that I found doing this is, since I've already worried about how it's going to be shaded and colored and all that. If I don't like how this looks, I can easily, since all these flats are on different layers, right? I can adjust what I've done here, like the colors I've picked, and then we can always go back and see how it feels doing different things, which is great because it just lets me have that flexibility to just mess around until we find something that we like. If that makes any sense. Kind of seeing all this like elaborate metal. Just putting it here. Again, I don't know if I'm going to keep this. It's kind of getting a little bit too desaturated here, but could be what it needs. I don't know. But anyway, that'll be it. I don't want to keep doing this, or else I'll just keep coloring it all the way through. But anyway, this is at least where I'm at with trying to figure out this this coloring stuff. Who knows if we'll actually ever go anywhere with it. I wanted to try this here. I'm going to go a little darker. Since we were talking about Gambit, it's always been one of my favorite things, those dark eyes, you know. So I'm going to actually mirror that here too. And if we go here, maybe maybe something like that. It's kind of cool. I just want to see too. Sometimes it's fun to just do this. Like, it usually doesn't work right away. I'm just going to put this on multiply. It's not going to look right, but it's cool to kind of see it come together a little bit. The reason why this isn't working is because there's like, I've got shadows. Like, this is a little bit closer. It's a little wild. Actually, just for kicks here, just before I actually wrap up, let me turn all this off here. So I'm going to duplicate this. So let's get all our shadows. Right, boom, boom. Oops. Okay. that. Merge it all together. Then we'll go here. This will be all our highlights. Let's turn this one off. Okay. This should work now. Okay, so if we were to change this one to multiply. Yeah, let me get all this over top. I'll delete that. So that's a multiply, and then this one we're going to do an add glow. And then the only thing we got to do here is, I don't know if this is how we can actually color it in here. Yeah, I didn't think so. Let's just try. This is just the default thing I'll do. Is excuse me, make it purple. And we'll put this on normal. This on multiply. Merge it. Oops. Sorry, guys. This is just me trying to mess around with some stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be a little too dark. Okay, I think this is working or not working because of that thing I just did. Fail. Yeah, sorry. The reason it's not working is like I'm used to this in Photoshop. Actually, here, let's try it in Photoshop. Multiply. Okay, let's put this on normal. Let me just see what this looks like. Okay, so let's save this here. All right. We still got our lighting. Everything's still good to go. Looks like it's a little bit darker than what we're gonna see, just as our experiment here. Save it. Save as Photoshop. Let me boot that up. Close this. I'll bring Photoshop over. Okay. Elf, where are you? So what I was saying is the reason why it's not working is I don't know how to do that. Do this in Clip Studio, but you can't like colorize layers. So if I go here and we go Control U, bring this over here. You got this awesome colorize feature, right? So now you see now it's all purple. Which is what I don't want. This is what I screwed up. So let me delete that. I'm going to duplicate the lighting. What I screwed up was I merged it with a flat gray, which is what we don't want to do. So if we grab all of our shading, we're going to merge that together. Get rid of all the lighting. Grab this and delete it. Turn the lighting off. Alright, that's better. Actually, that gray looks kind of cool, to be honest. And I'm also going to put it on multiply. And now we can do Control U, colorize. You see how now it actually looks like something? It's not totally awful. I actually like it kind of warm. It's kind of nice. Just punch that saturation up because it's kind of cool looking. And now we're going to do the same thing with the lighting. This we're going to put on linear dodge add. Is that it or is it add glow? I don't know if they have. I think it's add. I think that says add. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. Control U, colorize. I'm going to bring that lightness down a little bit. Kind of looks cool. What would it be? So if I've got like this cream color back here, sort of blue. Now we're going to purple. Guess it would be kind of trying to think of like this light that's hitting him would be like the sky color. There'll be two separate layers after this that we'll do for lighting, where it's one's like the bounce light, and then one's like if there's sunlight, which isn't really hitting him too much. So even like something like that, be kind of neat. That's kind of cool. Yeah, no, I kind of dig it. I mean, the green. I'm usually not a fan of green, but it's funny when you just add one layer of shadow, right? Like how it just dramatically changes everything about it. Yeah, it's cool. I saw one. I know I keep saying I saw one other thing, and I keep doing other things, but I think about Photoshop is there's blend modes, right? You can do this cool thing. It's like outer glow, I think, and it adds it just to why is it doing it to that? Maybe it's inner glow. Let me try inner glow. And you can add it to the shadow inside. I'm just gonna go pure red here just so we can see it. No, that's not working. Let's try this. Kind of. What it is, it's like if you guys know about the Terminator. Terminator, from what I understand, is where the transition from light to shadow. There's like it's almost like a pure saturation that's in there. So white's always gonna look awful. So like let's just say I don't know, like an orange, just for the sake of this. Let's go full saturation too. Crank up that goodness. Bring this right down. So it's kind of bleeding in. Maybe screen might not be the way to do it. Is just like an overlay. Yeah, overlay looks kind of nice. Maybe like a hard light. Yeah. Purple's pretty lit too. Look at this. Oh yeah. Bring that opacity down a little bit. And then you go in there and you clean some of this up, but it's like just adds like this it's very subtle. I don't even know if you could see it really. Like it affects the whole piece, but like it's so hard to explain what this is what this is doing. I don't know. You can kind of see like okay, maybe this will explain it. See how there's just like this shadow and then it goes this was the local color. By adding it, you'll see like it bleeds a little bit of this greenish blue in there. Right? It's doing that. It's almost like to me like it enriches the color. Just a touch. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm just staring at this for too long. But anyway, I hope you guys had a kick out of this. This is where I'm at right now, man. Just trying to figure this stuff out. Sorry, getting real fucking loud now. And then there's always my favorite, the color balance. Bring all that highlights, boom, boom. To me, this is like the cheapest trick in the game. Uh, but I abuse the hell out of this. I'm not even saying because it's actually making my art look better. To me, it makes it feel more fun. Uh, it just like harmonizes color a little bit more. Changes just the whole bang, the whole shebang. And then I'm walking away after this. I'm like doing things that I would do at the very end of my whole thing. Gaussian blur it up a bit. Maybe we'll go a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit like that. Then we make this like an overlay or something. Screen. Screen, then you drop that down. I mean, sometimes I'll do like an overlay on this. Reminds me of the old Udon comics, the old Street Fighter. The only thing I like the actual feel that it adds to it. What I don't like is like it can make a lot of these lines sort of get just blurry, right? Because we're adding a blur over top, so it removes that sharpness that you can get with digital. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But yeah, I can't wait till we get in there and we start doing like like if we just pick like this color here. Remember I told you guys I gotta walk away from this because I'm just gonna keep. Oh, is my pen not working in Photoshop? Of course not. Photoshop. I love and hate you at the same time. Let's go full. Now I'm doing this with a mouse, okay? So just bear with me. I'm drawing over the line art too, which is not the intent. But anyway, you start doing this stuff, right? This is like the hotness. That overlay looks. Yeah. So you start doing this kind of thing, and this is where you start getting like that. Oops. Starts rounding forms out, right? Saturate the hell out of it. But yeah. So anyway, I had fun. I hope you I hope you guys had a good time. We'll see how this goes. Like I say, just slowly spending time on it. Um, I like the look where it could go, and that's what's really more interesting than anything. This isn't superhero related, even though this translates easily into the superhero stuff. But like I've tried to explain, my path right now is kind of deviating from comics, and it's getting like this is clearly like the stuff I dig. Like I'm playing solo Dungeons and Dragons by myself, right? For God's sake. So this kind of thing just reminds me of that. Like I want to get a character sheet out right now. Just this is the dude, and let's figure out what his story is. Let's just have some fun. So we'll see where all this stuff goes. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Take care, and I will see you all soon. Bye bye.